Hey guys, I'm here. Welcome back. Yesterday I went and saw Bad Boys Ride or Die on the 4th, so saw the 4th installment on July 4th. I thought that was kind of fun. You know, it's the first time I've been to the theater since Godzilla X Kong, which was back in March. You know, it's just been rough, man. It's been real busy over here, both with the day job and with the channel, and then just trying to keep my mental faculties in check in some way, shape, or form. So I haven't been getting out nearly as much as I would like to. But I finally made it out to the theater because I absolutely love these characters in this franchise, and especially after the last movie, I think Adil and Bilall did a fantastic job directing both that and this, and taking these characters into some fun, interesting directions. You know, they play with a dynamic a lot between these two because they've especially in the first two films, they're very much so archetypical characters. You know, they have their personas and they stick to it pretty much to a T. And we've been playing around with that as these characters have aged. You know, we revisit them many years later in the last one, and a lot of that is kind of the through line of what the movie is about. And then this one takes them on a wholly new journey as well, even flipping the script in some ways, shaking up the dynamic between the two. It was really, really well done. And one of the things that I think really just makes this franchise last is the connection between Marcus and Mike. You know, this ride or die relationship. Everybody wants a friend. As much as you butt heads, you fight, whatever, you know, maybe sometimes you disagree or you get on each other's nerves. But at the end of the day, when things get serious, no matter what, this person's going to be right there by your side. I think this series really encapsulates that so well, especially with the elevated nature of their individual characters, but how that still makes their relationship work, how they push through it, how much they mean to one another, how far they will go for one another. Their friendship, man, it's one of the things that really draws me in, and it makes a lot of the emotional moments throughout the film also just really connect, especially in the last one and this one, tackling some pretty serious topics at the end of the day. I like the way they approached it. I like the way they worked around it. You know, they still have their laughs. These movies are still hilarious. While it is funny, there are still a lot of really intense, action-packed, gripping, and thrilling moments that have you kind of feeling and fearing for some of these characters. And I just love these two. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, their chemistry is just off the charts. It always is. I know I said this in my review for the last movie, but again, I'm just glad to see Martin Lawrence back on the big screen again. I know there's a lot of behind-the-scenes reasons why he kind of stepped away from acting for such a long time, but seeing him back out there, man, it really just warms my heart because growing up, he was definitely one of my favorite actors. You know, so was Will Smith, but like Martin Lawrence, I think he was like heavily underrated around the time. But I'm glad that he's here. He's back on the saddle and he's shining. He's a shining beacon in these movies, man. And once you pair him up with Will Smith too, it just makes that so much more fun to watch. You know, I don't know what the relationship is like behind the camera, but you know, it shines through their previous work history from the first two films, and it just feels like they're just sliding right back into this like they never really left these characters. But, you know, this film is taking our characters on a new journey in their lives and together as they are the eternal power couple that keeps on keeping on. This time around, some nasty stuff starts to come out about the late Captain Howard. You know, a bunch of stuff is getting pinned on him, and clearly it can't be true. So the bad boys get into action to try to clear his name, and it just spirals out of control. The team from Ammo, established in the last movie, they're back with Vanessa Hudgens and Alexander Ludwig. They're charming. They're great as well. You know, also returning is Jacob Scipio, who played Armando in the last film. Once again, also as their current chief is Paola Núñez, who is again doing a fantastic job. There's a lot of carryover from the last film, a lot of actual carryover to the original installments in this movie as well. This is one of those movies that tries to link a lot of the different chains and puzzle pieces together from the previous installments, and it does it in a really interesting way given the premise of this film. I really liked how it all played out. They kind of did a Scream 2 with Joe Pantoliano and bringing him back into here to be Captain Howard. The cast adds Rhea Seehorn, which this is my real only major complaint about the film. We added Rhea Seehorn, and I just feel like she was just so underutilized. She's fucking amazing. And in the scenes that she's in, she's great. I just like when you slap her into something, I just wish you would have utilized her a lot more. As to be expected, the action is insane, and the way that these directors, you know, are just kind of pushing the cinematography and the way they're shooting these action sequences is just wild. You know, we're seeing drones make their way into action scenes a lot more frequently and filmmaking in general. And we've seen both Michael Bay and Ambulance and them in the last one kind of experimenting with how to utilize that. This one, they've done some really creative stuff with the camera. And there's this whole sequence towards the end that is, it's just dipping and weaving through all these just impossible, you know, perspectives, and then flipping into a POV shot into the gun's point of view, into your point of view of the gun, and then the enemy's point of view, and then it's flipping around. It's just like the whole like third act action sequence is bonkers awesome. This whole cast has an amazing chemistry. I love seeing them work with each other. You know, sometimes when you introduce new people, like in the last film, like with Vanessa Hudgens and Alexander Ludwig, their whole character, like the younger cast, you know, the new blood and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't always work, but it really did in the last one, and I love what they've done with them even more here. There's this family that kind of extends beyond Mike and Marcus that they can rely on when things get down and dirty. They even finally throw some love Reggie's way, which warmed my heart. And another thing too, I know they're talking about like they'll do this until they can't really anymore, so who knows if we're going to get a Bad Boys 5 or not. I probably will expect we will, considering this movie's done pretty well, but every time we bring these guys back, another legacy character dies. It just makes me nervous for what happens when we keep dragging this thing out, because you got to establish the stakes, and especially after the last film, they've done that. And you know, it's just one of those things where the more you bring these characters back, the more you keep this thing going. That's more people you got to either you got to match it or you got to exceed it. So it just makes me nervous. It really, really makes me nervous. Not all the jokes land in this movie, I will say, but for the most part, again, I was just holding back laughter throughout the film. I'm still mildly annoyed that Bad Boys for Life wasn't the title of this movie, and instead they used it for the third one. Whatever. One day, maybe I'll let that go. Today is not that day. But guys, that's kind of all I got for right now. If you've seen it, let me know what you guys thought. So sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends. Manny Sherritt, York, Scott, Melito, Robert Amguiano, Jeffrey Hale, Jake Cantrell, Eric Official, Casey Wood, and Russell Crockett. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.